Nyack Village Board of Trustees meeting September 26th at 7:30 p.m. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have a mic for the public, but it's out of batteries. I'll put some batteries in it when I get a moment. I have some batteries in my bag. But our first order of business for the night, we have a lot to do tonight. We're passing resolutions that are the conclusion of some number of public hearings that we've had over the last few months, which includes some changes to the DMU zone, which is basically most of the area of Upper Main Street above Franklin. We're also going to be having a vote on good cause eviction, which was the subject of a public hearing a few weeks ago. And we have a bunch of other things to get to, but the first order of business is that, as many of you know, we have an annual event here in the village, which is we have a remembrance of 9/11 and the people that have been lost, both that were lost on the day on September 11, 2001, as well as the people that have been lost since from 9/11 related illnesses. And we've done it every year, and this year it was particularly nice. We had a beautiful day. Ironically, very much like the day of the original 9/11. It was a beautiful, sunny, breezy day. And for the first time, we did it out by the viewing platform down in Memorial Park. We've done it at Memorial Park before, but never out on the water. And it really did add something. But the most important thing that we had, and what really added some special notes to the evening, was that we had a number of people that participated in the ceremony. We wanted to give them some certificates of recognition and thanks. So it's called a Certificate of Merit from the Nyack Village for the people that were involved in the ceremony. And I'm just going to read their names out now, and then I'll come up and I'll call them up to get a certificate and take a picture with us. And those people are, I don't know, is Roberto Del Rosario here? He had band practice. He was our trumpeter. He played taps at the end of the meeting. But he could not be here. I'll make sure I find a way to get the certificate to him. I see that Nicole Stroud is here. She sang our national anthem. I see Emma Van Dorp is here, who sang Amazing Grace for, I think, the 4th time in a row, something like that. Is that about right? He's done a number. He sang some other things before. I think he sang the national anthem before that, and then Amazing Grace last year. Did a beautiful job. And Alessandra Francisco. Who sang and she has sung this several times at the event in the past. His Eyes on the Sparrow. I have the certificates, and I also want to thank. They're not on the list here, but I also have certificates for the Nyack Fire Department, who's represented here today by Lieutenant Vincent Cuccia, the fire department always brings down a fire engine that hangs an American flag out over the park, and it's absolutely spectacular. And he read the firefighter's prayer to lead off the event. And we also have an award for a certificate for the American Legion and the American Legion. I want to thank Izzy Quintana, who always comes through. They do the 7-gun salute. They do the color guard. It's really a wonderful job, and we're very grateful for everything they do to make the 9/11 ceremony a success. And so we wanted to take a moment to thank them at the beginning of this meeting formally for all their contributions, and I'll have them come up one at a time, and I'll ask the trustees to kind of clump around behind here. Actually, come on down. You could come on down to the front, in front of the mic, okay? Everybody come on. I don't know if you can be seen otherwise. And Mandy, you'll take the pictures of the people who take pictures if they wish. Set up way.
Careful on that one. Things don't break.
All right. The first is for Alessandra Francisco. Alessandra, thank you so much for all your singing is absolutely beautiful, and we thank you as well for the work you do for the community as the director of youth programs. Adult Services at the Rockland Pride Center. Why don't you come next to me? We got it around. I'll send you a thank you. So ladies and gentlemen, I'll send you a thank you. All right, next up are on the certificates is the Nyack Fire Department. And I think I have one for Lieutenant Pichek, so he's gonna accept on behalf of the Nyack Fire Department as well as on his own behalf. This year he read the firefighter's prayer, which is a beautiful prayer that we led off the event with. Why don't you hold this one and open that, I'll open this one. Make sure that's thank you very much. Vince the engineer, the part of the family that owns Strawberry Place, right?
Yes.
Yes, and what another person's done wonderful things for our community. Next up, Emma Van Dorp. Emma, come on up. Emma is a graduating senior this year at Nyack High School. So we're gonna be losing her, unless she wants to come back and sing next year. But she had some of the last years and does a wonderful job. 1, 2, 3. Emma. Go ahead, you take a picture. And you come up and you take a picture with her mom here too. Come here, come up. Because I know how much work you've done to work with her. And slide there you go. 1, 2, 3. All right. Thank you very much. Nicole Stroud, Nicole. This is the first time we were able to get your performance, but it was absolutely beautiful. She sang the national anthem. I almost asked you to sing it this morning, but we were the one. So I want to extend it beyond the pledge. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Oh, and I'll say a picture with her with also the American Legion because I think you're married to somebody. So she can take this back. Thank you very much. And I say, so thanks to everybody who made it to the event. We're very grateful. And I'm going to just tell you, as I always tell everybody, you do not need to stay. There you go. Perfect. Yes, thank you for the meeting. Thank you for being here and for all that you do for the ceremony. I will lose this, so make sure this goes. You're good at keeping records. All right, Matt, we have a number of things to do tonight. We don't have a presentation, right? That's on the agenda, but there's no presentation other than what we just did. So Matthew, you want to come up? And we're also gonna try to get people who are here for one specific issue that we might not get till, I don't want to make them wait till later in the evening if there's something that's not, we're not gonna get for 2 hours or so. Let them come up now and have their moment. Yes, Matthew, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Matthew Sieg with Rivertown Film Society, and I'm here to thank you all for allowing us to show Summer of Soul and some related activities, the Soul Music Sing-Along and exhibit in Hezekiah Easter Square on Sunday, August 25th. Rivertown Film Society did this along with Friends of Visit Nyack, the Wright Brothers Realty, NAACP, Angel Nyack, Nyack Center, and Phoenix Theater Ensemble. It was a lot to pull together. It was a beautiful, beautiful night. A lot of people came out, but we could not have done it without the cooperation of the village, obviously. And a special shout out to Andy and the Department of
Public Works and Parking.
Anyway, they were awesome. It went off like without a hitch, and it just couldn't happen. Obviously, it's unusual. I know it was like, what kind of thing is this really going to be? And we did have to close the parking lot. We did have to reroute traffic, but doing something downtown is really exciting in a way that it can be reflected in the park down that river. So I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Matthew. And I just want to thank you as well. When this was first proposed, I had some concerns about the businesses on a Saturday night, because I think it was originally supposed to be Saturday. I expressed some other concerns which you alleviated with me, but you did, I think, move it to Sunday night, which I think was extraordinarily successful on the Sunday night. It was the perfect place for the perfect time.
Actually a really good.
I hope it was going to become an annual tradition.
Well, we were able to do this year with the help of big grant from Arts Westchester, and hopefully we'll be able to keep doing it. Maybe not on such a grand scale, but
Okay.
movies down there.
Well, thank you for all that you do. Please pass on my thanks to
Thank
Chris
you.
Burns and everybody else who's involved.
I will do that.
Good lesson.
Thank you for all you do, and yeah, we're gonna try and do it again, and Joe, you and I are gonna have coffee one day.
You just let me know when.
Okay, good. Thanks very much.
Take care. Thank you.
Okay, I also like to bring up, because I know they're here for, and if anybody's here, just raise your hand for something that we're covering later in the, Adele, did you have something you want to talk about that's later on the agenda?
Not on the agenda.
You have a public comment that you want to make, and I know I'm gonna get to the Dunnigans as well. Adele, why don't you come up and address what you want to address? We'll do some public comments here early. Before we get to, we might have some people that want to talk about good cause eviction. I just ask you to speak up because we don't yet have your mic.
I will use my teacher voice. I'm Adele Garber. I live at Claremont at 6 Bird Street. I have to preface by saying I love Nyack. I love being in Nyack. I love living in Nyack. I've been in Nyack for 25 years. It's amazing. We have a wonderful community, and I really admire the people who are putting in the energy and time that you guys are putting in. It's, I'm at Claremont, I'm president of the board of Claremont too, and I know what it takes. Oh, my teacher's voice is not.
It was great, but once we have the mic, we might as well use it.
Okay, do I have to press anything?
It's just an honor. Turn, let me see.
Okay. Yeah, that's a lie. There it is. There it is. I wasn't close enough, sorry. But there is, obviously, there are problems in any community. I came tonight about a problem that affects many people down near the waterfront parking lot, municipal parking lot in front of the piers. And I know it's something you've heard before. There's a big problem with noise, which is what affects us particularly, but with probably a lot of not very good stuff going on there at night. There are cars and motorcycles that zoom in and out of that parking lot, often in pairs or threes or tens. And it's after hours. The cars are the ones that have the affected carburetors, so they're noisier than you can imagine. The motorcycles, I've watched them. I mean, not particularly wanting to watch them, but they caught my attention one night. 10 of them zoomed in succession, one after the other, with the loudest possible noise that they could make with their motorcycles. I was out there about 11:30 on Saturday night because I got a flat tire and I was waiting for road service. And otherwise I would not be out on the street at 11:30. There were 4 cars, all the same make, I don't know what it was, came zooming down one after the other. They came down Main Street, across River Street, and zoomed past all the stop signs and into the parking lot, circled the parking lot, went over to the back, probably behind the seaport, and then came zooming out again. It's really, really disturbing. It's disturbing because of the noise. It could go on till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. It's inconsistent. It's not every Friday. It's not every Saturday. It's not every Sunday. Putting out one person. And this is I disagree with some of the recommendations that you've heard before, because it's not a regular beating of this noise. I don't have a solution. I'm not proposing a solution. I'm just making you aware of a problem for a number of residents who really love being here. Not good things besides the noise. What could they be doing back there? Sometimes it's partying, sometimes it's music. I have been told to call the Orangetown Police Department. I generally wait for about 15 minutes after they wake me, because It could be at 1 o'clock in the morning, or it could be at 10 o'clock in the evening. I usually wait about 15 minutes till I'm annoyed enough to call the police. You know, one car going by, okay, big deal. When it's persistent and going on and on, then I'll call them and they're very, very polite and thank you very much, we'll send a car by. I don't know whether the people leave or the car comes by, but I don't know what else to do. I don't know what else to recommend our people do, but it's really a problem. So thank you for hearing that.
Thank you, Adele. And I would recommend, don't even wait the 15 minutes. If you see that there's people down there that are
Wake
making
up
noise. Oh, you have to wake up enough. Okay, I understand that. But the point is, make the phone call as soon as people are down there, particularly if it's after 12 o'clock, because you know, if they're starting to make noise after 12 o'clock, that the marina parking lot is supposed to be closed at that point. So anybody there is in violation of the village code, and there could be issuance, you could get summons and tickets from the police. The police came and got them. It is a long-standing problem that we have an attractive nuisance, which is an attractive waterfront, which people use for good reasons. They go and they look at the bridge, and they look at the moon, and they, you know, do what people do when they're looking at beautiful water and everything else. But there are people that have gone down there and they play loud music and they're revving their engines and they're kind of dragging a little bit up through the streets on the way back. And, you know, the problem is that we don't police that. That's the police. So all we can do is really call the police on those things. We did change the hours of the park to move them up to try to at least make it so the police have a grounds to remove them when they're there. We also did something, I'll let Joe Carlin talk about it because he was really the one who pushed for it.
What's this one up? Oh, we're putting video cameras in the marina and with
security cameras.
with security cameras and also warning signs or where this area under video surveillance. So maybe that will tamp down or deter to some extent. People know that we're being observed. You know, as Joe said, we're limited in what we can do. But I think this might be a big help towards helping to alleviate the issue.
Yeah, they go so fast that you can't even see the license plate numbers. Maybe if it's on video, it could be caught. But as an observer, when it's not a regular thing, so that you're out there looking for it, I'm not looking for it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to have it.
Yeah, I've been down there on occasion, way past my bedtime, but I push myself. And I've observed that lesson, so I could, if I was living there, I would be pretty mad.
So we'll see if the cameras help and the signs help, but we'll keep monitoring it. We've made a lot of changes. We put in lights, we changed the hours, we added more permit parking, which we thought would, putting more people down there parking legally would crowd out some of the spaces for the people to carouse. But it's a very, and we've gone down there, Andy and I have gone down there personally to go talk to them and ask them to show some, you know, consideration. And, you know, we've had middling success with that. And I'm sorry that it's still a problem for you, and we'll continue to work on it.
Thank
I
you
do
very
promise.
much.
All right, I know there's some people here for some issues that came up in communications. Tristan, Jack, if you want to come up and talk about, you've asked for the street fair dates. We have it in the agenda as communications. So come on up if you want to talk about them. I will tell you that we've had a conversation offline individually, and the dates don't seem to be a problem. And we'll probably have a motion in the next 2 weeks for the next meeting.
Mike,
if you want to use it.
Hello? So, this is the 52nd year for, in which we have asked for, the dates to be approved for a street fair. You have the dates in front of you. If there's an issue with any of those particular dates, please let us know. But, if those particular dates have been, sort of like carved in stone for almost 50 years. Those
The
the
third
dates,
week of
that-
third
that-
week of this
where
month,
that
the
was.
second weekend.
Second, yeah.
You know,
so yeah, that's all I have to say.
I just wanted to fill in the board. Obviously last year we had a lot of discussions going on. There was, memo signed by some of the smaller businesses, use the mic. Bringing back to my TV days. Face for radio. So last year there was a memo circulated, discussing, some of the issues that happened when large scale street closures happen. So I just wanted to sort of make sure that you guys are rest assured that the conversations that we've been having, that we had in the lead up to, you guys passing the dates for last year, those discussions have been going on, throughout the year. We've added to the Visit Nyack agenda every month. There is a topic of street fairs. So anybody, any business owner, anybody that's affected by street fairs, they're always more than welcome to come to the Visit Nyack meetings once a month. You guys, I'm not going to speak for Thomas Schneck, but you guys are more than welcome to come to the Visit Nyack meetings as well if you want to talk about street fairs. I pride myself in going business to business multiple times a year, whether it's to hand out signs or just check in. And we've been having meaningful discussions around street fairs, how it still affects certain businesses, how we can help certain businesses leverage the amount of people that we bring in, because we truly do believe that street fairs are beneficial to our small businesses, not just restaurants. So these are things that we've been continuing to do, and we truly believe that, something that sort of the bulkhead that we reached last year of that memo being sort of circulated and people signing, it was a symptom of lack of communication from all parties. And so we truly do believe that communication is the key to this thing succeeding. We want these 5 days to be the best days for our small businesses in the village. And so again, conversation, working with each other, that's the best way to move forward. And so we've been doing that. And yeah, it's nothing changes overnight. You can't fix an airplane overnight, or you can't fix an airplane while it's in motion, while it's in air. We're working on curation aspects of it. I know curation of these street fairs is very much to be desired, especially among locals. I know it's not the most popular event for locals, but we still bring in 20,000, 30,000 tourists. And on a tourism level, this is the pride of Rockland County. The Rockland County Office of Tourism speaks so highly of what we do, of what the Village of Nyack does, in collaboration with the Chamber of Commerce and the Arts Grants and Teachers Association. So we always appreciate your guys' input. And again, Pickwick, you can see it in Village Hall. You have our email addresses. So
It's just those way. We'll put it that way. It's that way. Yeah, you get turned around.
And the Visit Nyack meetings are beneficial, not just for street fairs, but for anything tourism related within our village. And there's a lot of hard work that is put into this. So
Thank you, Tristan. And let me just add, we're delighted that you're doing it again. It's really one of the landmarks, one of the pillars of the seasons of our event schedule. So it's great. And I know you work hard on it, and I think everyone's appreciative of the work you do. And it's always a fun day, particularly when we had some really good weather, I think, for most of them this year.
all of them.
Knock on wood, yeah.
We have
knock on
one
wood.
left. One left.
One left,
October
all right,
13th,
so I hope we get the good weather for that one as well. But thank you. We do have some questions that we didn't want to take up now, but I'm gonna send you something and then we'll talk about it separately. Just I want to make sure I have to sit down with you, but I'm around next week and we'll set up a time to talk about what we can do to help promote the local businesses as well as the vendors that come in and pay money to be here.
Absolutely. And one initiative that we did do this year is we added a QR code to our posters. And I send out mass emails to the not-for-profits, to all the businesses on the street fair route and off the street fair route. If anybody has any promotions that day, to send it into Visit Nyack, they put it on a microsite. So when anybody sees the poster, they scan the QR code, it brings them to that website and they can see, oh, I'm in Nyack for the street fair. Let's check out the Pet Center. Let's check out Memorial Park. Let's check out the library. So these street fairs aren't just for the businesses on the street fair route. We can have our cake and eat it too. We can show off our beautiful waterfront, without the loud cars. We can show off the not-for-profits that do so much for our community and that really create our community and draw people into moving into our community. So this is part and parcel of it, where this is truly a community event, and we're always striving to do that.
Thank you, Tristan. Thank you, Jack. Yeah, I want to bring up, and I know Jack usually stays through the meeting, so if you have something else later on, if you want to, let's give something else to say.
But I would also say something is that I would encourage you to visit to attend a Visit Nine meeting. Real, you know, there's a lot accomplished at these meetings, a lot.
Good. Yeah, we should do that. So we'll make sure we get the.
Are they all the day?
No,
In the
no.
evening.
So they're once a month. I'll make sure that, I believe Thomas Schneck sends out, he does send out an email. I'll make sure that all of your emails are on it if they're not already. Yeah.
We get this stuff.
I've seen the summer. I've never seen the date for the meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's
Well,
my,
if you get it to me, I'll circulate it around. I'll make sure they get it. I'll talk to Tomas about getting them on the email list.
Yeah, and they're also, we do them in person, but there's also a Zoom element, so if you can't make it, just Zoom in, plenty of people do that as well. And it's in collaboration, if you don't know, the board members of Visit Nyack, Tom Schneck is the president, and then we have two board members, the president of Arts Crafts and Arts Crafts and Teamsters Association, Jack Dunnigan, and the president of the Chamber of Commerce, Robert Cohen. Chamber of Commerce and Acadia are the two organizations that put on street fairs or sponsor the street fairs. So there's always somebody there. I'm there myself as well at all of the meetings. So yeah, we would be delighted to have you again. I'm not speaking for Mr. Schneck, but yeah. So
and I might remind you is that Chamber of Commerce and the Arts, Crafts and Antique Dealers are founding members of Visit Nine. So, you know, we struggled to get this thing going, and especially through COVID. It was rather difficult, but we accomplished. So it's please,
Thank you, Jack.
support us.
Thank you, Jack and Tristan. And I know you're also involved with the chamber. It's not a chamber event, but the Halloween parade's come up soon. I know you both work on that, so good luck with that. It's another great event.
October 26th, rain date October 27th.
So it's Saturday, rain date's on the Sunday.
Yes. And one last thing, Andy, thank you. Anne Marie, thank you for the lights downtown. They look beautiful.
They look good. They look
Yeah,
good.
they look
Yeah.
great. And every small thing matters, and the lights really help, especially with the sun going up. So thank you guys, and thank you.
Thank you. All right, is anybody here for a communication item or a non-action item? Yes, please, come on. Oh, come on. Andy?
So I'm on the agenda is Bridge Street improvements.
Oh, let's take that. You shouldn't, yeah, I know what you're here for, so we'll do that now. We talked about it last meeting, but you weren't here, so we want to
Yeah,
make sure
I
you get a chance.
apologize for that.
No, that's fine.
Well, this is my
I
family.
would miss meetings more if I could, but they make me come.
But thank you, Wendy, for getting me back on the agenda. I'm getting over a cold, so I'm not gonna touch the microphone.
Oh, here's my
address.
He's got it. Okay, thank you, that's very
You don't want what I had, so. So I've been a Bridge Street resident since 2006. I've lived in the house most of the time that I've owned it. I moved away to London for business for about 8 years. And rented the house. And coming back, a lot of the same problems resonate, so there's not enough parking for residents on Bridge Street. The houses that are, historically beautiful, 1893 row houses. We don't talk about building driveways when we built those houses that. Houses that went up across the street on Bridge Street do have driveways. What's happening is the options for parking have been reduced because most people are working from home now, post-pandemic. So no one's taking their cars and parking it and commuting anywhere, so the street is pretty jammed with cars just generally, but what's happening is local businesses are occupying our spots, so it's not our spots, but spots that we could access, so Parentville Pizza, the hardware store, the beauty salon, so those probably take about 10 spots in our street every day. We also have a loading zone on the street that probably takes about 6 cars. That's accessed or used not that often. So we're trying to, collectively, I sent the petition out to my neighbors. Which aren't here today. To really think about how we might come to you with some suggestions. One of the suggestions is to give access to Bridge Street residents only to park on Bridge Street. So that it deters business owners and their employees from parking on spots that could be used by our residents. I know it's a challenge, giving parking preference to people, but that's one option I thought of. The other option is to eliminate parking meters, where I accumulate lots of parking tickets. I've had parking tickets when I just stop my car and run in the house to drop off some groceries. I come out and I have a $25 ticket in my car. And that's right out in front of my house, but there's no parking. So that's kind of the first issue is parking. The second issue is more of a quality of life issue. Cars go up and down Bridge Street the wrong way every day. I work from home, I see people by my window every day, sometimes slow, sometimes fast. And they also use Bridge Street as a way to get around traffic on Main Street, so they come down really fast, even in the right direction. So in my mind, a speed bump or two at the beginning or at the end would slow people down. And we could solve while, the street is repaved. The street is kind of falling into disrepair. I don't know the last time it was actually paved. But, I think our residents feel a little forgotten. I mean, I think Bridge Street should kind of be celebrated a little more just because of its historic value to the community. We like living downtown, we choose to live downtown. And as someone who, has a house that I live in it now, but I'll probably want to invest and have someone else come back and rent it. It's a deterrent for people that want to come and rent properties on Bridge Street because there's no other parks. So it makes it difficult. I know it's the other option I thought was we used to be able to park in what is now the Nyack Fresh parking lot overlook, but they put up signs now that don't allow to do that. So, there are instances where, like, even last night I had to park, I don't know, quarter mile away from my house just to get a parking spot where I wasn't gonna get fit. So
Okay, was there, well, I'm just, was there anything else? I want to make sure you got all your issues.
those
off
are
the table.
those are the three.
Andy, when did we change the parking rule on, I thought it's always been, I thought the Fresh parking lot has always been no overnight parking.
It's not supposed to overnight in any of those lots.
Yeah.
We sell monthly permits which allow overnight parking.
For, in those lots, in
Right.
the lots?
Yeah, in the village lot, you get a monthly permit for whatever it is, 50, 60
And that
bucks.
includes the Fresh market or no?
No, the permit,
Not the Fresh
permit
market, only the
parking
other
is
lots,
over
the
by
RP
the,
lots.
Yeah,
Um,
if you park behind Nyack Fresh, I don't want my wife and my daughter parking back there at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I get it.
It's not a safe space for me. to walk.
Here's the thing, we can make Bridge Street just for Bridge Street parking. It's the same reason it's the same reason that the people who live by the hospital would like very much for us to make it resident only parking because they have the same problem with people from the hospital parking. But that's not even within our discretion. We can't do that. That's something that has to be done by the state legislature. And it's very difficult to get through because you have to establish a very, very unusual need. We'd be more likely to probably get it for the hospital because the hospital does have a parking lot and it is a massive, force within that community. But even there, we have not, it's very hard to get it through this. They get those requests all the time and they're very careful about them. It'd be difficult to do it because there's nothing any particular different for people living on Bridge Street than those living on Main Street or those living on Broadway. They all live on the street. They don't have street parking at night. You have street parking at night, just it gets taken up. I will say the thing that would trouble me, the idea that people going the wrong way down Bridge, could we just make sure that we've got some prominent one-way signs at both ends to make sure that people don't do that? Because that's a serious thing. It's a relatively short street for a speed bump, but we can look at that. But we'll definitely, let's try to improve the signage and we'll look at some other issues relating to some of the permit parking. At least think about permit parking in some of the lots that might be closer to you.
Yeah.
In the Fresh market lot or whatnot. But I'm afraid I'm not going to promise you something we're not going to follow through on to do street parking there, but we can at least, that's one of the challenges is if you live in the downtown, the parking is always going to be tight. So I'm sorry about that. And, but at least we can do something about the one-way sign because that's troubling.
Is there any consideration of the meters?
But if we took off the meters, then you would never have a parking space there. The people would come at 6 a.m.
I see that logic. I thought about that too.
Yeah, if we don't have meters, what happens is the people that work downtown get here early, take up a space, and they leave it there all day.
Yeah.
And then there's no motility in the parking. The reason you have the meters is partly for all the obvious reasons, but also to increase the use of parking so that people move their cars periodically. And so that would not be possible. In fact, if you go look, there's one area up by the hospital where it just happens that we never put a sign up to restrict parking, and so there's never a spot on that little half block. It's just, there's never a spot available. So I'm sorry we can't do anything more than that, but thank you for bringing it to us, and I'm glad we could.
Thanks.
We could hear from you. Thank you, sir, for coming in. All right, we have come past 8 o'clock. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna start the public hearing. Let me see, are we starting or restarting? Dennis, clear me up on things. I'm never good at that. We're continuing, so we have to open the continued public hearing, or is it already open? I'll just make it a formal thing. We're actually, I think this one we don't, this one's new.
Just state.
All right, we are opening,
The public hearing.
it's after 8 o'clock, so we're opening the public hearing. We'll go to it's after 8:05 as well. So let's go right to the manufacturing zones, and there are people here for that. I don't know if anyone's here for the stop sign. And this is, let's open the public hearing on the manufacturing zone. The proposed local level will amend the zoning code relating to the manufacturing district, the M zoning district, to allow as a special permit use retirement homes, nursing homes, and assisted living facilities and multifamily dwellings. Is there any public comment on this issue? Please come on up. And if you do not have a cold, you should feel free to use the mic.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do not have a cold. Appreciate using the mic, although I do know how to project. Ira Emanuel, Law PC in New City. I'm the attorney for Juniper Investors, which is the owner of the Hotel Nyack. And we basically started the whole discussion with a petition that we submitted to the village board with respect to potential for zone change in the M district. I want to thank your staff for working with us and providing us with an opportunity to comment. We received a draft last week with respect to certain proposed additional changes that are being considered. Frankly, we think there are some technical issues that need to be worked out. We have no opposition to any of this. Let me make that absolutely clear. But there are the proposed amendment also wishes to bring in addition to change of zone to allow assisted living, retirement homes, and nursing homes into the M district. Also potential for multifamily homes, but also adaptive reuse. And it's the adaptive reuse portion that has posed some technical challenges that I have relayed to the attorney and to Andy. And I think they still need to be worked out. And I think it's a little premature to act on it this evening until we do work those things out. The zoning codes are very intricate documents. And once you start trying to import something from one area into another area, all sorts of things start happening and you have to be aware.
We have discovered that over these 6 months that have involved many changes, some changes that we've been trying to make to the zoning code. So yes, we understand where that's coming from.
Thank you, Ira.
So I'm happy to work with Dennis. I'm happy to work with Andy and anybody else and Bob Galvin. And again, the reason I'm here is first of all to advise the board that we are working on these technical changes. Obviously, it's up to the five of you ultimately, but we want to get a document that you can be proud of and that will work. It doesn't make sense if it doesn't work. It doesn't make sense if people don't understand it. And also to emphasize that we do not have opposition to this. We're very much in favor of this, and we want to work with the village on it.
All right. Well, thank you. Does anybody have do you have any questions? Anybody have any questions for him about the project? I will have more time to talk to you about it going forward.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other public comments on this issue? If that's the case, can I have a motion to continue the public hearing toward our next meeting, which will be, why don't we,
You have to pick a date now.
we have to get a date. So why don't we actually continue it? Let's skip the next meeting and just continue. What's the meeting after that?
It's probably gonna take some time, because there's some technical stuff. We need Danny's input, we need, Bob Galvin, Village Planner's input, and mine, of course, and perhaps yours.
All right, so we'll continue the public hearing to Thursday, October 24th at 8 o'clock here at Village Hall on Broadway in Nyack, New York, 10960.
Motion.
I was requesting a motion to continue the public hearing. Motion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion, the public hearing is continued. Our other public hearing, this we've not had open before, so can I get a motion to open the public hearing on the new stop sign to amend Village Code 330? Motion, can I get a second? Okay, the public hearing is open. Does anybody have any public comments on the stop sign at the corner of North Midland and Sixth Avenue? Seeing no public comment, does any comment from the board?
Needed.
It was needed.
Yeah.
I go on that block a lot, and so I'm very happy now because I used to really be scared going through it. I have to really do a lot of left, right.
Actually, I will say, because I still see a few people who do run that stop sign over there. There is I know there's a stop, crossing guard and everything, but like, could OPD just
I think they periodically go by and
I
park
feel like
there.
it's a boon for them, and I hate to like encourage people to give tickets out, but I also do know that stop, like, it's a four-way stop sign, everyone stops.
I-
Like, use it.
I think if they just park the police car there, there's the people don't go through. I mean, I stop at every block if there's a police car there. It doesn't matter if there's a stop sign or not. I just stop. But I want to just commend the people from that community who came to us with it. I also want to commend DPW and Andy and the whole team that when we finally decided to make the decision to put the sign up, the sign went up. We're now passing the legislation that will allow us to put the sign up, but the sign went up right away, and that was a good thing. So if there's no other comment, can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, the public hearing's closed. Let's move on to our action items and let's try to get through these. I do not have my glasses, so if I misread something that is entirely based on my advanced age, no, it's okay. I'll go. I don't want to steal your glasses. These are actually pretty close to mine. All right, thank you. Thank you, Joe Carlin, has supplied me with a pair of his reading glasses. Our first action item, if anybody has public comment for any of these items, feel free to come up to talk to us about them. 6.1, Resolution 2024-141, accepting the audited voucher survey. Can I get a motion?
Second.
Should have been.
All in favor? Okay, then let's turn now to 6. Did I miss one? I missed, we need to do an adoption of the minutes. So, can I get a motion to adopt the minutes from 9/12/2024?
Second.
Any questions or comments?
It's a little bit of a typo. I'm sorry that I have to.
You just want to prove that you read them. I respect that. What's the typo?
It just says a redundancy over here.
Andy, is there a 6.2 action
No.
item? There's no, okay.
Yeah, I misnumbered.
Okay, I was looking at like, wait a second, did I just miss something? But I did, it was good because it made me go back and realize that I forgot my notes.
On page 3.
Page 3,
So here we have the opening. The beginning two.
yeah,
Maybe most of the beginning two.
I think it was probably a motion to continue. Oh, it was back
All
there.
these numbers.
Can we,
Nothing that matters.
Linda, can we amend the minutes to reflect the fact that it was not a motion to close the public hearing, it was a motion to continue the public hearing on the DMU two?
Well, there was a motion.
It was to close, okay, it was to close, you're right, because we closed, I'm sorry.
It just appears twice in
All right, it appears twice, so you can take it out the second time, I think the first time you take it out, right?
Page 3, the paragraph before the end.
Okay, so we're eliminating one of the references to the closing the public hearing, and it was closed, we're not in public hearing, we're just adopting the resolution tonight. Okay, any other questions or comments about the minutes? We're considering adopting the resolution, we have not actually made a decision yet, as the fact that we have not voted. Any other comments or questions? All in favor of adopting the minutes? All opposed, the minutes are adopted. 6.3, Resolution 2024-142, amending the code of Village of Nyack to add a new chapter 217, adopting the village into the New York State Good Cause Eviction Law. Can I get this on the table?
Second.
Discussion or comment? On the board? If anybody wants to come from public comment, please come up and take your spot. Andy,
Just a typo in this one.
okay?
When it says September 26th, it should say September 12th. The public hearing was on the 12th,
Okay,
not tonight.
okay.
And so we just wanna.
That's correct.
When you vote on it, it will be as amended with that.
As amended with September 12th,
Yeah.
okay? Alex, come on up. Make sure you use the mic.
Real, can you hear me?
Is it on?
Is that on?
It should be lit up.
I think it's on now,
Yeah, you can hear you.
Okay, real quick, I spoke in, I'm Alan's group, thank you, the Legal Aid Society. I spoke in favor of the good cause eviction law before, unless you want me to repeat it, I'm not going to. I think it's a wonderful law. I just came here a bit prematurely right now because there's been no vote. But thank you for taking this seriously, having a discussion of it, putting it before the board, and participating in it. I hope you have, I was hoping to adopt it, and this is just to say thank you. And congratulations, just considering, thank you.
Well, thank you for that, those kind words, Alex. That's that's an unusual, unusual type of public comment. I'm not used to that, so I'd be the first ever. So let's mark the date and time, 8/20 on September 26th. We got a compliment from the public comment. So thank you, Alex. I appreciate that. Yes, please come on.
I'm Nancy Travolta from Riverview, the ongoing problem at the Riverview Apartments. I'm thankful for, again, for this, this law tonight. Just to let you know, my landlord, after tried to get me to sign in the last week or so, something saying my apartment is not under good cause law. And it's part of my new lease. And he already marked it down that it's not under, so I'm very grateful that you're doing this, because obviously it means something to him if it's under good cause.
Yeah, well, I think I believe, and Alex might correct me on this, I believe it's become standard practice for them to include that notice if it's not covered in lease renewals, just simply to get it get it sort of in there attached as an appendix. But I will say this, it was true when you got the lease, it may not be true when you sign it. When is I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just wanted to say, that the lease renewal that they gave me was not within, again, the 90-day
Oh.
notice.
Okay.
So they subsequently said, here's an addendum. We'll do you in new lease in January of 2025. Basically, if you sign this, okay, so it's ongoing, but I'm glad that you're doing what you're doing.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
When will the law become effective?
Immediately upon filing in the Secretary of State's office, so I will try to, it's pretty much. Linda should have the adopted version tomorrow. She has it tonight, but I have to send it with big capital letters, adopted version, just so we don't confuse it with the thousands of other versions that may have preceded this.
Okay,
This is not,
this is when it goes
this is
as much
not one
of
of,
it.
this is not one of those that went through 7 revisions.
Yes.
I'll send an email to Linda tomorrow with instructions what to do with this adopted law. Actually, I saw that today for somebody else. And once it's filed up in the Secretary of State's office, it's effective, so, within a few weeks. So
Take that long?
well, it's not effective until it's filed in the New York State Secretary of State, but once it's out of our hands. It's in the hands of the New York State Secretary of State, we're not the only ones who send them local laws to be filed, so. They could be,
When- do we get
sometimes
notice
take
of-
a couple of months.
Do we get notice when they do it?
Yes.
No, I don't know.
No, yeah,
Do
they
we
do send, yeah.
We do.
We get something back.
They say
from
it's
them saying that they
filed,
haven't
blah, blah,
filed.
blah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, well, we're gonna circulate the news that it's been
But I
done.
did, if that's okay with Andy.
Alex?
Informational point, there's a new law which requires the landlords to plead in the petition, eviction petition, that it's subject to good cause or not.
Okay,
So, and you can get dismissed if they don't. So it's important to know when it finally happens. That's all.
yeah, we'll make sure it gets circulated when we get the final, but in the meantime, I would urge everybody to start complying with the law.
Keeps it.
Because we don't know if it's gonna be effective sooner or later. All right, any other public comments on this? Just to summarize, there were 2 areas of the law that were subject to some fluctuation or flexibility with regard to that we could adopt it. It can be a little different in two material aspects from town to village to town to as it gets adopted. The two areas that can be modified had to do with the number of units that need to be owned by a landlord for the law to take effect, and we set that at 1, so any landlord who owns a unit would be subject to it, which makes it very clean. You don't have to worry about somebody having multiple properties through LLCs that you cannot penetrate. And the other was there are certain properties that are exempt from the good cause eviction if their rent is more than a certain percentage. I think the default is 245% above the mean average rent, and we set that we could set that higher. We set it to 345% of the median average rent in the year. I think it's median. So we made those two changes. Otherwise, the law is as it is written in the state and is adopted by the village. I want to thank Pascal, Deputy Mayor Pascal Jean-Gilles, for her leadership in driving some of those decisions that we made. And thank the rest of the board for their attention to this. This was we got this done relatively quickly, and as far as I know, if we vote for it, we will be the first village to have passed good cause eviction in the state of New York. Any other comment or question? All right, all in favor? All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Applause. We have applause, and we had a compliment from the public room. This is a red letter day. All right, the 6.4. You guys can stay and applaud for all the other motions. 6.4, resolution 24-143 to amend the DMU2. Can I get this on the table?
Second.
Okay, we've been talking about this for, I don't know, 6 months, and we've come down to the changes that we have made to the DMU2 district, increase the distance of the minimum required front setback from 5 feet to 15 feet. We had an additional 5-foot setback at 32 feet of height for all sides of the building that face a public street. And we widened the distance of the street frontage from 25 feet to 50. It also, incidentally, we corrected kind of an oversight when it was created to allow cannabis adult use retail dispensaries in the DMU2 the way they're allowed in the commercial corridor and the DMU1. Any comments or questions on this? This was the subject of a public hearing. We should correct the date. Is the public hearing today? Did we do it today?
No, the public hearing.
It wasn't one of our public
took
hearings today,
place,
right? Oh, no, it wasn't. It was the manufacturing zone.
yes,
So
last.
let's correct the date on 6.4, resolution 2024-143 should indicate that the, am I missing it? Oh,
September 4th.
it was September 12th. The public hearing was open. Yes, so September 12th, 2024, the public hearing was open. So with that amendment, any other comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Our long ordeal pushing this through is over. We have now adopted. Congratulations, and I'll applaud for that, having gone through that process. And thank you very much. I want to thank our village planner, Bob Galvin. I want to thank our village attorney, Dennis Michaels, for all the work they did putting that together. It was a lot of work, and Andy Stewart as well, who runs all this stuff. But there was a lot of wrangling to get that written in a way that would make sense. 6.6, resolution 2024-144, approving an agreement with the Nyack Center to provide the Downtown Ambassadors Program for $15,000. Can I get on the table?
Second.
All right, any public comment or question about this? This is just that we're taking the funds that we got and we're going to apply it now to the Ambassadors Program, which is being run by the Nyack Center. Okay. All right, if there's no public comment or question and no board comment or question.
I do.
Oh, sure.
This whole thing just shuts me down. This thing I have to say. So we did this, right? So, this one? This is the new one. What you're talking about? No, not that one. We're here. We're here, the ambassador.
Yes.
Okay. So. Is this this is the first time we're doing this?
No.
This is a redo, right? So,
Do you want, so just a,
right.
I'll explain. I'll
Okay.
explain because let me take the mic. I'll just explain. So what happened was we got a grant from the state, thanks to former Assemblyman Ken Zabrowski, very much to his office for putting that together. We did a grant. Some of the money was allocated to the ambassador program. Another part of the grant was allocated to a different program that never got off the ground. We spent the money on the ambassador program that was done this past summer. We then asked if we could allocate the other $15,000 to the ambassador program, which we will then run through the fall and during the holiday season. And we'll get them jaunty Santa hats to walk around as ambassadors during the holiday season. And that was approved by the powers that be at the state approved us applying this $15,000 to the ambassador program. So it allowed us to extend the ambassador program for longer than we expected.
Now, is there more, this money we're using from the other program, is this money coming back in for that other program?
So there's a second
The
New York
second-
State Office of Family and Community grant for $25,000, which was essentially proposed for the same group of programs. And I'm hoping that the easiest way for me to get this thing going on that one, because that one's overdue as well, is to go with the plan that I sent to you guys before.
We actually might have some movement on that. I don't know if you've heard from Don Hammond
No.
about that there's some movement in the Hoops program. But the answer to your question is that there is an additional money and the additional money could be applied to the basketball programs.
Right.
Yes.
That's the part that I.
It's just that we were gonna lose this money if we didn't find a use for it soon. But there's additional money that we have a little more time to adapt, right?
Movement has been made on the basketball program.
I don't want to talk, I'll talk to you, actually, I don't want to talk about it publicly because I don't think it's public yet, but there has been some forward momentum on reconstituting the Nike Hoops program. All right, and I'd rather not, I can talk to you about it. I just don't, it's not formal yet, so I don't want to use any names publicly or anything publicly about it, but it should be, if they're ready to go. They're
No,
ready to go.
I understand that. I'm gonna just continue to reiterate around the budget. I do want to discuss putting more money into the Parks and Rec. Because that's what should be running these programs. They are services to the village.
Well, putting any money into the Parks and Rec, right now, it's a zero budget
Yeah,
item.
there should, yeah, we should be putting.
I don't disagree with that at all. But for the moment at hand, is any other questions about the ambassador program?
Are we gonna see how this works out before we spend more money on it yet again, like see like what's come out of it, like I would like to see like. How it worked, did it work, I don't know how we're tracking that, but like, I know there's Santa hats, a holiday is fine, but. I just kind of want to know how it's gonna work for the village.
Which program are we talking about right now?
Ambassadors.
The ambassadors.
So, I mean, Kim has been here with the ambassadors themselves to present to the board how that program was working.
Is that like somebody that I saw during the 9/11 memorial that said walk up to, you just greeted us?
No.
That's a greeter. I
That
thought
that has
was-
nothing to do with the
The ambassador
ambassador.
program ended during the summer. It wasn't up in September.
Yeah, they were walking around in pairs and helping people. Some nice kids, really nice kids.
I don't think it's the kind of thing that has a dramatic effect.
No, They don't.
It's more of a sense of things.
Yeah, they walk around and they see somebody struggling at the parking meter, or the meter meter, which
System.
I see very often, and I just want to question, can I get an ambassador picture or a shirt? Because I walk around a lot and I'm serious, I would be willing,
What's your size?
Well,
We
just-
don't do that publicly either. Yeah, let's get a t-shirt. Let's get some extra t-shirts done.
There's one on my desk. You can have it.
All right, you can have the one on the desk.
and a red cap.
And let's just remember, the money for this program did come from a state grant, so it's not coming from our base budget. Any other comments, questions?
None.
All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. 2020, 6.7, resolution 2024-145, resolution of the Board of Trustees to accept the examination of the Nyack Justice Court. Andy, give us the quick, what is this about?
It's a state requirement that periodically the treasurer vouch that she has done a review of the handling of money in the court, which she did do, and this resolution says that.
Okay.
Anything particular come from this report? Like, did somebody pay in pennies or something?
That happened a year or two ago.
Yeah, I remember that. No.
No, there were no alarm bells. The requirements for accounting were met. And she did sort of a random sample of transactions to make sure that the money was accounted for.
All right, any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. 6.8, resolution 2024-146 to amend, to place a stop sign at the intersection of North Midland Avenue and Sixth Avenue. Can I get this on the table?
Motion.
Any further comment or question? This was the subject of our public hearing earlier tonight. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. 6.9, 2024-147, a resolution of the Nyack Village Board of Trustees to use $10,000 in tourism promotion funds for the Nyack Holiday Village program. Can I get it on the table?
Second.
Okay, so this is a proposal that I've made to promote shopping and dining in the village during the holiday season, starting right after Thanksgiving all the way through the end of the year. The principal use of the money will be about $5,000 is going to be used to rent out the Nyack Center and or the Angel of Nyack for Saturday and Sunday afternoons. Not every Saturday and Sunday afternoon, but I think it's like 6 different dates that we got that will be used as a drop-off event to drop off kids so you can go shopping and the kids can watch a movie, you can do some crafts and things like that. We are going to charge for that, so some of that $5,000 will be recouped in basically admission fees to do that. And some of the other money will be going to buy. We spent $300. Well, we've authorized the spending of $300 to buy a couch, red velvet couch for Santa to sit on with kids, because we didn't think it was a good idea for Santa to be sitting on people's laps in the village. Just decided to go with a couch instead. It's sort of more of a love seat. It's like a bench. And we're going to get some Santa suits, and we're going to do some advertising and promotion of some various things, including a window decorating contest for the businesses and a house decorating contest for the residents. So there'll be prizes for that. We'll get some judges for that to try to create a little holiday spirit and try to get people spending their money in the village for the holiday season. This is the kind of thing that we could have gone through the process of sending it to the Nyack Business Council for review and their recommendation and their assessment, and then they come back to us. But we technically have the right to allocate the Nyack, the funds that come out of the hotel tax, which we allocate to our tourism promotion, to do it for this, and I think it's a worthy use of those funds. Any comments or questions? Nothing? All right. If there's no other further comment, oh, wait, yeah.
I guess, maybe we should have gone through the process, only for the issue of fairness. It kind of feels like. Well, and I just, is this coming from us? Is this coming from the business council? Is this coming from you? Like, I guess, I know I saw the email, I guess I'm wondering why normally we have like presentations and, we kind of see it through the process and where the money's kind of being allocated for and the pitch. I kind of wish we had that in this process.
That's fine, and we'll do that with maybe some of the other things that are coming up. Just realize that the allocation of the tourism grant money through the business council, solicited by Visit Nyack, going through the business council, then coming to us, is a process that we created for our purposes to help us distill and not have to review every grant. This is a grant that was, and I would suggest that if somebody on the village board has something like this, this has gone through the business council, it just didn't go through the grant process. But I hear your point, and there's a process we set up, but it's just that the money that we have in that tourism grant is ours to distribute. There is enough money for us to continue to do all of the thing, to get as much through the tourism grant process. We didn't take anything away from the tourism grant money that we would generally have available. So they'll still get all the proposals that come through the business council will still be considered in the same way.
Yeah, I guess maybe it's just that I feel like normally when we have these events, there's like a discussion, a presentation. I would have liked to see that just so I can visually kind of see how this is all happening. I can't
Okay.
really see it, if
I
that
mean,
makes sense.
The only thing I'll say is in all respect, I wrote the first memo about this in March
No,
and sent it around. I've sent 5 versions of the memo around since then.
right, but like, that's what I mean is that every time we've tried to discuss it here, we haven't been able to discuss it in a meeting. We've just been corresponding through emails.
Okay. We can, with this, okay,
That's
Fair
all
enough.
criticism is that
Would a workshop work?
yeah, I mean, and it doesn't have to be a long one. It really can be
can I
like,
suggest that we would do that for things that would come up in the future, because
yeah.
we need to
no.
move on this. It's now, I wrote the memo in March thinking I was 8 months ahead of the game, and now we're 2 months ahead of the game, so I need to move to get contract signed and do things with this. So understanding that in the future, I would be happy, I would have been happy to do a workshop. I actually wrote a presentation. I had the presentation done. We just, after a 2.5 hour meeting, it didn't seem the right time to hit you with a bunch of slides. But going forward, I will be mindful of the fact that you'd like to go through more of a formal process to review these things. And I don't know if we're going to spend the full $10,000. It's just authorizing us to do that if indeed we need it. We might, I expect that we'll spend somewhere south of that.
I mean, who's watching these kids? I guess that's what.
The Nye Center.
Oh, the night center. Oh,
The same
yeah,
Nye Center people that watch the kids all day. That's
Yeah,
why we do
no,
it at the
no,
Nye Center. That's why they're not in my house.
God bless those guys on the weekend.
Well, because they're gonna have candy and everything else, so it's gonna be,
Yeah,
it's gonna be a rough
It's gonna be
afternoon.
for
That's
the
why
weekend.
that's why it's costing so much money, quite honestly. All right, any other comments or questions? And thank you, Pascal, for that correction. All right, all in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, let's do, let me skip down just because we do have somebody here who's for a particular issue, and I'd like to talk about it since we just talked about issues that and having followed process. Louise, why don't you come up and talk to us about, I put this on, it's under new business, the Craftswalk event, spring of 2025. Make sure, Louise, that you use the mic to talk about it. I sent you all a memo about this one with the general contours of the proposal, but here we go. We're gonna hear from it, and then we'll continue to talk about it.
I have some things for you to read.
Yes, I love
Please
it.
excuse if there's some information there that it's not. There you go. I'm just gonna share it out here. Yeah,
Thank you.
I can give you guys one too, if you like. And then there's some images just for you guys to flick through and you can pass that. Oh, actually, I need one. Can you give me one?
Oh,
you need one?
Of
the presentation of the paper.
Oh, no, the presentation. I just realized I didn't go out. Thank you. Just working, yeah. So first of all, I want to thank Joe and all of you on the board for letting me have this opportunity to present this concept to the village board and hopefully to the village itself. So just a little background, and I did speak briefly at the last meeting or a couple of months ago, whenever it was. My name is Louise Newsom. I am a long-time resident of Nyack, 30 years, raised my kids here. And I run an organization called Trade and Prosper. And Trade and Prosper curates events that are specific to artisanal businesses and also to its surrounding, its community. So this proposed event, I mean, I have it named here, the Nyack Village Hop. It can be a crafts walk, whatever it's called, whatever it's decided on, doesn't matter. But the concept here, this, what I've handed out to you is kind of a concept that I would send out to propose to vendors to get them interested in participating in an event like this. So the wording here kind of gives you the idea of what the whole flavor, for a better word, of this event is. So it's embracing first and foremost Nyack and its cultural, diverse and historically creative soul that it has. So what we're talking about is bringing in, well, first of all, and the most important thing is about bringing in all of the businesses that are in this town to be part of this event. That's the most important thing. Oh, really?
It's the mic, yes.
Oh, okay. Oh, there we go. Better. So the most important part of this event is actually bringing the businesses that exist in this village into the event itself. They are the core of the event. The additional part of the event is bringing in additional artisanal makers into certain sections of the village. So, for example, the upper level of Memorial Park
and also at Easter Square. That was kind of an idea to use those two spots and create some kind of map where the craft hop walk comes into this, where someone who's coming into the village for the day or for the weekend, whatever this is, they get given a map, or it can be downloaded on their phone, and they're literally walked through the village and they have an experience. And the experience is walking and meeting the store owners. It's going to meet the vendors at the park, coming up to Easter Square and meeting the vendors there too. The restaurants, bringing those into the equation as well, having all kinds of like promotions and things going on, having the businesses be part of this and offer promotions. So an example would be for the restaurants to have sort of an early bird sort of special booking. So if they book for their lunch or for their dinner, then maybe there's a cocktail in it for them, 2 for the price of 1, so that the restaurants can really understand that weekend what kind of traffic and business they're going to get through coming to this event. Store owners can have all kinds of promotions going on that weekend too, to actually get people into the stores to buy from the store owners as well as the other makers. The other piece that I had mentioned to Joe about this event, this type of event, is also the opportunity to expose our village to other businesses that really might want to actually establish themselves here. We have empty storefronts. We're looking to fill them. An event like this brings a certain type of vendor in that is a possibility for someone to want to set up shop here. So it's a nice promotion for the village in that way too. Also wanting to sort of possibly incorporate some kind of walking tour opportunity, work with Nyack Historical Society on that, and also the museums, obviously, and the Hopper House and the other museums in town, to really get the whole town working together to curate this event and have it be a really special time and something kind of new. You know, I know we've had street festivals, the street fairs going on for a long time in the village, but this is something a little different. There's no street closures. You know, the streets will be open for cars and people will be walking on the sidewalks, you know, using the map to kind of navigate through the village. And that's basically the concept. Have I missed anything out there?
Joe, you the point you want to make. Yeah, I have a couple of things. First of all, the date.
The date, so yeah,
The date,
that's up for totally up for discussion.
May 3rd and 4th. Cinco de Mayo is on
the
the 5th, right? And that's on a Monday, so I think that weekend there might be other, you know, events, restaurants and so forth, so you might want to consider moving it to a different date.
The date is totally, I put that on there. It's up for discussion as well. It all depends how it fits into the schedule as a whole with the village, with other things, absolutely. So that was just something I put on there.
Obviously,
This
gonna avoid
concept.
Mother's Day, we're gonna avoid Street Fair Day, we're gonna avoid all that, exactly confidence, and that's one of them, the fact that that might be one of the weekends when there's business, the restaurants do business. That's right, it's a busy month. So.
Right.
The other thing is, curation of the vendors. You know, I'm not gonna say who said told me this, but some of the street fairs were not as curated as well. And the question is, this is supposed to be a high level crafts fair, and across the river in Tarrytown, they have the event twice a year, very high quality stuff. Unfortunately, my wife drags me to those things, and I usually just hang out at the food vendors while she goes up and down. You know, not my cup of tea, but she loves it anyway. So that's the question of how highly curated will it be.
So Trade and Prosper, the company, does highly curated events. We do highly curated events. So, you know, so for example, just to give you a little background on me, I sat on the board of the New York State Distillers Guild for 4 years. Now I'm an advisory board member. And so the distillers and craft beverages are very involved in that space. Having kind of a tasting section be part of this event could be very interesting and cool as well. And that's very super high end, and everybody loves New York State distilled products or beers or wines or whatever it is. As far as the, you know, the crafts themselves, there's so many local people. I mean, there's people here in our village that don't have bricks and mortar who make beautiful objects. And also artists, they paint and, they might make jewelry and clothing. I would want to encourage them to be part of this event, to have this opportunity and showcase their products in their own town, as well as bringing in other outside people, but it'd be highly curated. And I would be sharing the types of vendors with you, so you would understand what was on the table.
Is this gonna be, in cooperation, conjunction, consultation with the chamber? And they want to get involved, and visit NIAC and, Acada? I think they might be able to have some good input into this.
Sure that she'll, when she gets it approved, she'll get involved with all the organizations.
Yeah, I think it should be a village-wide, all hands on deck type, project.
Right, absolutely. I mean, of course, I want to collaborate with
I want
everyone.
everybody to work at cross purposes. So
Right.
it's important to get everybody's buy-in.
Okay, that's it. Anybody? Yep.
So I think that.
Can't use the mic, just. I don't want to.
Thank you for mentioning that. That's good that everybody would be incorporated. But I love that you mentioned that there are a lot of artists and a lot of talented people in the village that you'll be pulling from along with the other vendors. The other thing that I like is that you're gonna do it on the top level of the park, you said? Because during the African American Day Parade, where there's tons of vendors, I was there and I walked around to all the vendors on the top. A couple things, everybody stopped by the booths while they were up there, even though the bottom level of the park is so big. It just was cozier, I guess, on the top. And so everybody, including myself, really kind of went around, and a lot of the vendors really liked being there as well. Because sometimes down below it's so big and people are like, oh, I'm done, I'm not walking over there, I'll stop. So I do like your ideas. I think that they're really good.
I think in the marketing of an event like this, it would be really encouraging that people coming and spending the whole day here.
Yeah.
And the reasons why would be apparent, in the sense that they would be having, like I said, this experience walking around the village, tying in the history of the village, the museums, as well as the shopping experience and then the dining experience.
And the roads will be open.
Yes.
So
the
that's
roads will be
great.
open.
So the businesses will be happy, everyone will be happy, and
Yes.
those two places are two good spots.
Yes.
So.
And my wife will be out.
Well, and you'll be hanging out by the food vendors. I just want to make this point because I think it's an important one, that one of the reasons why I support this and supported her when she first came and told me about the idea is that it will bring in outside vendors, which when you say everybody will be happy, there'll be some concern that, oh, you're bringing in competitors to the businesses that are already here. But the difference is sometimes you need those vendors to make it a special event that brings people. And so one of the things that made me very, that I approved of this is the idea that the event map is going to include all the participating businesses that want to be a part of it. So if you're walking from the park up to Easter Square, you're going to pass by, okay, the record store is here on the way. We'll stop at the record store, things like that, that integrate the businesses into the vendor experience as well, which I think is important.
Said that, so you're saying that maybe all businesses won't be participating?
Oh, I think anybody that wants to participate will participate. I'm just saying that some of them, they don't. They might not think it's something that they do. So like I imagine like Sniff and Nickel would participate. I imagine that the record store would still participate, but it might be that one of the drugstore might not participate, so they wouldn't be on the map. Right, that's what I mean. Like there's a lot of businesses that wouldn't be part of this.
Who is the target audience? And how are you gonna reach out to them?
So the target audience is obviously hyper-local. I mean, we want our community to come out, yes. And then I think it reaches from north, which I should say, east, west, north and south. We're going to reach everybody, even in Manhattan, getting people up from the city to come here for the day as well. So how am I going to do that? So marketing initiatives, I mean, I can present a complex marketing plan on how to promote this. There's a number of ways of doing it through using micro influencers to social media to the train, getting ads on the train, wheat pasting. There's lots of ways to go about marketing an event like this. And obviously, the appreciation would be there from if it's Visit Nyack would support it, or Nyack itself, we could get some promotion happening through their channels as well.
Good question, are we set up, so we're gonna be selling vendor space. I don't know.
Well, not to the businesses that exist in town.
Not what?
Not to the businesses that are here in
No,
town.
I know,
They're part
but
of
the
that.
vendors who are coming, right?
Yes, yes.
So those monies, what happens to it? Where's it gonna go to?
Well, so I'm curating the whole thing. My company is going to do it.
Okay.
So the vendor fees pays for my time. I mean, it's, and for bringing in security, for marketing the event, managing the event. So it's, the vendor
So
fees.
it's a for-profit.
It is a for-profit venture, but like I said, all of the businesses in town are promoting them as part of the plan. It's not a fee to them. Anyone who's going to come and join as a vendor with a tent who lives in the community will get a highly reduced rate to be part of it. And so people coming in from outside who want to be part of that would pay full price.
Okay.
So have it staggered accordingly.
Is the village going to be supporting this financially? In other words, I know that, since you're a for-profit, what is not?
We're not funding it. She might apply for a grant for advertising.
Okay. Okay.
And also, I've been here a long time and I'm very connected to KeyBank, for example. So, I'm connected to the manager there. So, and I've already spoken to them about the concept of something happening and then being involved in it with the town with me. And so having them come out and sponsor the events and actually spill out onto the street and promote the bank and talk about the community, I would like that to happen as well.
They're collecting the same vendor fee.
What about the DPW costs?
That's all. She pays for.
You'll pay for it.
Right.
All the out-of-pocket costs.
Yeah,
And all right.
insurance as well and trading costs for the event.
Still own Festoon, right?
Sorry?
Did you own Festoon?
No, that's.
That's somebody else.
Yeah, that's a different.
Anyway.
I just want to say that you obviously know it, just in talking to you and what you're telling us in terms of marketing, it seems like you've got it all pretty much out there. I know when I was on the Opera House board, they did something and put it in Metro North so that they could come to Nyack and they could visit the museum at a reduced rate. And then, so I love all of that. So it's bringing people.
Yeah, it's a bold move, and I think for the town it's something really fresh and exciting to offer for
And
those
we
who
need it,
love
we
the
need something.
All right, this is gonna be in the form of a resolution that we'll have at one of our future meetings, probably the next meeting, but we can put it off if we want more conversation. Just in the form of authorizing the use of the park and the square for the purposes of the event. It will be, and just to make clear, it will be open to the public. There will not be any admission charge to use it, although the vendors themselves will be paying a charge to be part of it.
I'm sorry.
I have a question.
I think I want to do some candy.
The Chamber of Commerce street fairs, okay? What is that? Yeah, what are the dates?
Because we don't need.
They're
Is there-
they're in the communication section of the, probably the bottom. 413. And then in 518 in the spring.
Can you see?
In the spring, and then
413.
and then so 713, 97, and 10, 12.
So there's nothing in June.
Nothing in June, but June's a really tough month because June is Pride Week. June is the African American Day Parade, it's Father's Day. We might be bringing back Art Walk, which would be on Father's Day weekend.
Oh, art walk.
I've had a conversation with,
That was really nice.
I've had a conversation, we're patterning this on the same idea as the idea of
That's
you walk
right.
around, you look at arts, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the idea of that.
I mean, I'm just afraid of, street fair fatigue.
Well, we're not gonna, let's work on that next 2 weeks, we'll work on the dates.
I'm sorry.
We'll find out a time we can keep it away from the other events. Anybody else? All right, thank you very much, Liz, we'll see you again.
Thank you very much.
All right, and that brings us to the department reports, police department report. We're going to try to get them here to give us a report at one of our meetings coming up. We did have a discussion with them this week where we did confirm that they are going to enforce the 12 o'clock closure of the park. That's the only aspect of that, of the sign regulations that they're going to be enforcing at this point. But they're going to be working, we're trying to get them to have a walk around during the afternoon with the people from Catholic Charities to do, to have discussions with the people that have been routinely staying in the park overnight, to talk to them about their options that they now have available to them since the park is no longer an option for them. So we'll see how that progresses. I did notice this past weekend, once the signs went up, there were fewer people in the park and the square for a couple of nights. And it seems to me that, that they're not trying to break that. If the law says that they can't be there, they are being responsive to that. And if we enforce it, they'll take the other options that are available to them for beds, because they did say to me, and I just had a conversation today again with somebody from Catholic Charities that I ran into at Rockland Business Association, that they can find places, and the other services can find places if the people have the will to do that. So
That's the whole point. The whole point is that if they have an option to stay in the park, they're going to stay in the park. Okay, all the social service organizations, they all say that the idea of not allowing sleeping in the park is a great idea, because it kind of forces the people that are in the square to consider the other options, and they said they could find temporary solutions to everybody. I mean, not permanent, but temporary solutions. And they're refusing. I mean, I was there with some people and some of the Catholic Charities and Lenny from the Foundation Recovery, and they just don't want to. They just don't want to move. They just don't want to move. But the question I have, so then I make it for Dennis. Dennis, okay.
I'm trying to.
Yeah.
So is the police say they don't want to enforce, quote unquote, the extended lounging? correct?
They don't think there's a clear standard for that.
I understand that they have some hesitation about this one.
What about parking belongings on the bench and around? Is there any way that we could get the police or somebody to, I mean,
They have to give us a code, like, is there a code address protracted belongings?
That's the problem, it's like,
I don't think.
it's littering.
we have,
Literally,
well, it's
yeah.
kind of not, because they're not leaving it there, they're taking it with them. We have had conversations with them about it, it's a very gray area that's very tough to enforce, and the police are not, I would say enthusiastic, somewhere between, they're not enthusiastic and not really willing to pursue the law. Well, no, they're just not willing to pursue laws that they feel are not clear enough to, like, 12 to 6 is clear. They can say if the person's in the park 12 to 6, they can say, all right, well, that's a clear, bright line rule for them to follow. Some of they didn't feel that the loitering was, or not the loitering, the protracted lounging was as clear. And I see their point. The other issue that we're dealing with, which we're going to try to clarify, is the issue of if the people stop sleeping in the square and what they do is they move to a vestibule of a building, how do the police feel as if they need authorization to be able to enforce, because they're on private property, not public property at that point. So we're looking at options to be able to do that, which might involve getting the business owners to authorize us to call for the police to, like, give us, or we might do it legislatively, by legislating, because there are places that do that, that the public entrances to businesses are considered public property that can be managed.
I'm really glad you brought that up. That happened at a deli. Hudson Deli, you know, the one that's next to the Fresh Market, it's right on the corner. Is that it?
Yes, the one on the upper
And-
level.
Yeah, they're lovely in there, and that's what's happening, that I go there often in the morning, and today was raining. They had 2 tables outside, and there was a guy sitting right outside looking in their shop. You know, so they are moving, so that I'm glad that you brought that up to see what could happen, because they were concerned.
Yeah, good.
So one of the things that I was thinking about today, when I spoke to one of our landlords whose entryway gets regularly camped out on, and I just asked him to call the police as a sort of a counter trespassing. It may be that strategy could be more effective than us trying to sort of adopt private property entryways as public space, and then we try to act. I just want to see how that works. Because we did talk with the police about private property and trespassing, and they did say that if a property owner or a representative of a property calls us and says there's somebody trespassing on my property and I don't want them there, that they would respond. And that seems like an option which we should see how it plays out.
Matter of getting the owner to go on the phone and make
Right.
a phone call. Yeah,
Well,
it's not
that's
easy
what
during the
happened.
night. At
Yeah.
night, it's not easy.
No, but that's what happened. So there was someone that came down, a woman, she said she was from Haverstraw and demanded that they give her food. Because that was their job, to feed the homeless. And she said, "Excuse me." And then she started riling up a little bit, but her husband was in the back and he came out and said, "I'm sorry, but you're gonna have to leave, or we're gonna have to call the police."
Exactly.
And so they did that, and that sort of, and I said, "How did that work for you?" And that got them to leave, so.
Yeah.
So I think that might be a good step before, like you mentioned, suggested, is before adopting anything, let's see. Because I think a lot of business owners might be into doing them.
They need to call the police
Yeah.
if somebody is in their property without permission.
But we got the upland, the patio outside, right? That was cleaned up and the chain was put on the gate, so it's. Some of the guys were not just nimble to jump over the fence, so they opened up the gate and go in, but that's actually been pretty good over the past few weeks. But I have a question, if you don't mind, I'm taking the opportunity on a slightly different subject. So we have some empty storefronts right on Main Street. For instance, the Dragon Club, whatever it's called, you know, the former poorhouse. Okay. There are for red signs every single window. Do they, as a real estate, like, do they really have to put up every single window? And then people drive by, they say, okay, for red.
Yeah.
It's not every window is red, but the building is red. Not only that, but that brown paper that covers the glass. Is there, I remember RCC when they were building out, actually years ago, they had not a brown paper, but they had a paper that had a scene of the Hudson.
Oh, yeah, they just have like.
You remember that? Yeah, that was very nice. Can we maybe ask the building owners, maybe to? I'll take care of that. I'll remind me to ask the question, but
Oh, because I know the broker. I'm not involved in that business anymore, but I do know the brokers involved. And I can reach out to
You know
them.
where the bodies are.
I know I know where the live bodies are
All
too.
those hills that you die on.
All those hills, they leave a lot of bodies on those hills. All right, anything else? All right, we were talking about the police department. I assume there's no clerk report, no treasurer report, village administrator. You have the floor. Why don't you Linda, if you grab him the mic so you can speak into it, so people, the two people who were here can hear.
I have a question. We've been asking for a village cash flow report analysis. I spoke to Jen a couple of weeks ago. She said she was working on it.
You'll have it on the 8th when you meet.
On the eighth.
Yes.
Good.
It's good. I've seen a preliminary, it's good, yeah, it's good, I've seen a preliminary, on the preliminary number is good news. All right, Andy, go ahead.
Couple of items. We got cameras set up in the marina over the last couple of days. And we're interested to see how we experiment with those. We still have to add the megaphone aspect to it. Right now, the audio is not loud.
What do you mean by megaphone?
So we'll be able to shout at people remotely
Get off the grass.
for the marina. That apparatus set up down, it costs about $7,000, a little more than that. We can thank Angelo Rubino for allowing us to tap into his router on his building. And then from there, it is a wireless connection with the camera system, which is on a pole down by the boat launch.
Who's gonna be monitoring
Me.
you?
Oh my God.
Is it like
Okay,
a-
can we all take a shift?
But we can put the app on other people's phones, so if we want to sort of divide up
If you
that
want,
responsibility.
if you want to have it, burn it fun, go right ahead.
It'll be recording.
What are you doing in there?
The system,
I'm totally gonna do that.
it's motion and sound activated. So yeah, I'll show it to you when you have a minute.
And the recordings, because you record,
Yes,
and how long do you maintain the recordings?
it depends on how much happens, but the storage should last a month or so before it starts getting overwritten. Maybe a month or two, yeah.
That reminds me of.
I have.
Remember the big weapons robot that kind of saved your business?
Yes, it's your business. State your business. Why are you in the park?
A
It's
little
after
bit like,
midnight. Go
something
home.
like that.
I'm totally, you think I'm joking? I'm literally gonna be
Oh,
doing
I
that. I'm
know.
gonna be up in my bed at 1 a.m. going, what are you doing in the park? Park is closed. Move along.
That's gonna be the next complaint.
You see people throwing stones at the cameras. Angelo's gonna be very, very sad that he let us put him on his building. All right, we're getting crazy. It's after 9. Andy.
We're gonna add more signs.
It's so funny, so many people area on the video surveillance. That actually is more effective than the
What else?
We're getting a price proposal for Hezekiah Easter Park for cameras as well. Doing a little security work around the bathrooms, Memorial Park, people break in there, so we need to fix up the doors and sort of do some security work. The camera guy has suggestions about that. We're doing great on the sustainability stuff. The village did get to 9,000 points and is qualifying for substantial grants for solar arrays and for making this building a net zero emissions building. There's a ton of work to do on that. The waterfront path contract finally arrived and we're working on executing it and setting up an RFP process for the design of the waterfront park to get a good design company. The village board will have to select one from respondents. And we also need a committee, an advisory group as a requirement of that funder. So presumably the Parks Commission, a village board member and some other people put together an advisory group to sit and help review the qualifications of the designers and so on and so forth.
Sorry, that, not the whole thing, but the waterfront.
So we submitted and we have now received about $500,000 for a path along the waterfront connecting the pedestrian bridge to the viewing pier. The design of that path will have to be done by an engineering and design consultant. We need to get
Where the pebbles are right now.
where the pebbles are. Yes, right. And the village board approved the submission of that grant application and has had updates on that. So I'm just letting you know that we're working on getting the RFP together. The village board will see it before it goes out. And we'll have to choose a designer to design that path and then take us through a design process, which will involve a committee, which has to be appointed according to the funder. Can't do this without a committee. And so names will be needed for that and their appointment. So that's a very exciting project, what we're gonna be working on over the coming year. Just a note on the legislative items, the waterfront zone, we're waiting on the planning board to get their comments. Their meeting, I think, is on the 7th, Dennis, correct me if I'm wrong, is it that Tuesday? Or is it this, I don't know, maybe it's the Monday, whatever, it's right before your next meeting, so I'm hoping we have their comments, and maybe we can maybe we can actually go to print on that, that law, if all the other bits are figured out. The Downtown Revitalization Initiative grant is due on October 18th. It's a major preoccupation for me right now. We have an active committee. They've met twice now, or once, or no, once. We have another one soon, and then we have a public meeting scheduled for October 10th at 5 p.m. right here. Your attendance is welcome and encouraged for that. We need to show public engagement. We're a little light on that right now. Just because it'd be nice if we had a whole lot of meetings and people at farmers markets and so on, but it's always has to be balanced with a lot of other tasks that we have to do. But we have some exciting projects to add and some to subtract. The general guidance we're having from our committee and from our technical assistant consultant that the state provides is to go for the New York Forward grant as opposed to the full DRI. We need $6 to $8 million worth of project proposals for about 4.5 if we're lucky and we get the grant. That means 2 big, expensive, and relatively projects which the state is biased against anyway needs to come out. One of them is our big drainage project, and the other is the garage behind this building. So they're coming out of the portfolio of projects. And we're going to add John Greenhouse to further activate the connection going down Main Street between the waterfront and the Broadway, and some other items, which I think maybe on the 8th, I should make a presentation to this board with an update on the projects that the committee is looking at. So we can talk more about it then and also show more public engagement as well. So that's coming along.
These projects, are they, one or two projects, or could it be a mission?
No, we're gonna have probably about 8.
I asked that the project be considered.
Yes,
I think we spoke about this, gonna have a weekend closure of Main Street from Broadway to Cedar, but they have installed retractable.
yes.
That's on the list.
So one of our projects from last year is a bollards project essentially. And actually I have a contractor right now running around town kind of replacing most of our major street closure points with bollard systems. And so we'll get a number on that.
What are bollards?
Bollard, this is where you take.
It's like a pole,
It's
you
a
ever back in
post.
with your car, it's a
That's what
pole,
I thought, is that
but it's movable, so it can go right into the
Yes,
street, you take it
That's
out,
what
the
I thought.
police can come in with a key. Or if there's a fire, the fire department comes, the guy runs out, takes the key, pulls it out, the fire department
Okay.
truckers can go right
Got it.
through. So we don't have to have dump trucks standing at the end of each of the street fairs, and it will save us a lot of money, and it'll save the street fair people a lot of money. That they have to pay for overtime for people to be manning staffing those trucks at each intersection. So I know Jack's nodding his head because he would love for us to be able to reduce those costs, which we're gonna try to do.
I'm thinking of automatic retractable.
That's really great. That's what I thought.
Yeah, it's unlikely we'd be able to afford a automated system. But certainly a manual system is absolutely doable.
Main Street and Cobblestone. Making it to the real, on the weekends, the real European style.
We can put it in, let's throw it in a pile of things we'll talk about, because that's a doable project, and they do like those sort of beautification projects. You know, they have that down in Spring Lake, New Jersey. I was down there, I was like, why does it look so nice here down in downtown? It's because they have cobblestones.
Yeah, probably, yeah, there's something to think about there for sure. I actually have an example of that for Peekskill that we could look at. And I think Newburgh did a whole project with uncovering the historic brickwork and stuff. Just a mini project, which I'm working on right now, is the reopening of that, or the opening for the first time of that kiosk, which is on Main Street by the farmer's market.
Mhm.
We're looking for an alternative location for the chamber to store its items, which it needs to have in there for special events and so on. And working with Kim Cross and the Ambassadors Project to use some of that time to staff that booth. But if it succeeds, we'll also be looking for volunteers who want to function as greeters and sort of staff that booth and hand out flyers for special events and answer questions, things like that.
That's really, really.
Sort of chum around with pedestrians, so it'd be fun.
And I have another item, it's the River Space sign. And I asked about having part of it in an electronic sign for announced village events. So forth.
Yeah, so we've put a fair amount of work into that. I had a conversation with the owner of the sign. He's happy to work with us on that. I talked to sign designers and different ways of doing an informational sign. Right now, we're waiting on the Fresh Market to present the building department with a comprehensive sign plan, and that podium or whatever you want to call it, sign will be a part of that. They have some work to do. I don't know if the building department's received their plan yet, but when they do, I'm going to go back to those partners and ask for space for the village on that monument sign there, and we'll work on that together.
And that will be a nice attraction, for the events that we're talking about now.
Exactly, yeah. So there's different options, but once we have the pathway with that sign getting sorted out by the Fresh Market and we have our space allocated, then we can talk about the specifics.
Okay.
I'd love to see that sign fixed up. It's a real eyesore. Lastly, I just want to mention that the village's contract with Constellation Energy for all of our residents and small businesses expired. Jewel, the community power group that brokers these things, is working on a process of identifying a new energy supplier. They're convening us, I think, next week sometime for a status check. But at this time, all our residents are getting notices from Orange and Rockland saying that Constellation Energy deal is expiring. And some of them are calling me, they may be calling you as well, sort of confused about what this message means. At the end of the day, their lights are not going to be turned off. Orange and Rocklands can provide the power from whatever default supply they do. And then eventually the village will be offered presumably a new renewable energy contract through the community power program and the CCA. So just so you know, if you get those calls, it's just kind of something it's in the air right now.
I have a couple of questions, if you don't mind.
Sure, go ahead.
One thing, did you hear me? You
I can hear you.
Thank you, sorry.
Sorry.
So, you can't hear me?
I'll step back. I'll step back so you can see it. The music you can see it. I'll read your lips.
So, my question to the charging stations in town, are there problems? Are there issues with them?
Yes and no. The ones at the marina are fully activated. They're being used and we're getting money from them. The ones off of Main Street are not yet powered up. There's engineering work going on connecting to the big transformer box there, and some back and forth between the contractor and O&R as they arrive at the optimal form of connection.
Okay, so the ones at the marina are up and running?
Yes.
Okay, and then we don't have an ETA on the other ones.
No.
Okay.
This is something that we chase every single week, basically, and Steve Sia has helped out a lot tracking it. It's just been frustrating.
Wow.
Very frustrating.
Because, yeah, I've been asked that, and then I just want you to be aware, since I was coming to the meeting and sending you everything, I've had a crazy day. Some of the parking meters in North Broadway are not working. I was there today at Night Smiles. My boss, and so I tried putting meters failed, so if somebody, I know that we're. probably
Yeah, if
doing
you
on
just
parking
don't
meters.
hesitate to text me whenever you see something like that. Are you talking about the standalone meter heads?
Yes,
Yeah, sometimes their batteries run down and our staff knows how to fix them and replace parts, so I just need to find out about it.
okay, so maybe
let them know.
check out that North Broadway.
And lastly, I want to mention, because maybe we could end our meeting, Betty Perry passed away,
Oh,
who's my dear friend.
so Whimper's wife?
Yes,
Oh, no. Oh,
who is my dear friend,
Oh,
and had just, you know, they live in Upper Nine, but they've done so much
Oh,
for
they're
all of
institutions.
us, yes, and so my heart is heavy with that, sorry, just wanted to mention that in case no one.
Yes, please adjourn, remind me to adjourn, Ron.
I was gonna ask for an executive session before we adjourn.
Okay. Anything else, Andy? Anything else for Andy? All right, we've covered a lot of is the old business 8.1, is that something different? Did we talk about already?
Oh, old business, hold on.
Andy?
Yeah, we talked about that already.
I already did, all right, A2, next meeting of the board, all right. We gotta get your calendars out.
Everyone open their phones up right
Get your
now.
calendars, get your phones out, because we really do need. We had a problem with Thursday that we brought up months ago, and then I ended up with a problem on Wednesday.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Jack. We
Jack.
ended up with a problem on Wednesday. And then so we proposed moving it to Tuesday, but Dennis can't make it Tuesday. So
It's no longer the eighth.
it's tentatively scheduled for the 8th, because Dennis, we can do a meeting without Dennis if we have to. We just wouldn't be able to
We'll
weigh
get
in
by.
on stuff, we'd be running blind on certain issues.
So what I promise you I'll do, if we do have it on the 8th, is Andy routinely sends me the agenda a couple of days in advance of the meeting. We go through it, if there's legal issues, things, Andy and I have conversations, we exchange email. So I would ask Andy maybe send it to me a little bit sooner if you can, and usually 2 days is enough, but just to prepare. If I can foresee any legal issues that might arise, I will draft a legal memo or email and send it to Andy and the mayor, and then you guys can share it with the rest of the board if you wish or not. How's that sound?
That would,
I
probably
would like to be here, but you know.
Well, let me just ask everybody else. The 8th is, who can make it on the 8th? Who can't make it on the 8th? Does anybody else any of the board members can make it on the 8th? Andy? We're okay for the 8th, so, and then let me just ask about the 7th. Would you be able to make it on the 7th, Dennis? Monday night?
Planning.
The planning board has its meetings on Monday night. All right, so we can't do it Monday. All right, so let's do it Tuesday. We'll follow the program that that Dennis said in terms of getting our legal advice in absentia. We'll do it through AI. We'll have
Not legally.
You know, by the way, the conflict I have for Tuesday, this is good. It's the Village of Haverstraw Planning Board, which usually is pretty quick unless they have some big work project or something. It's generally very quick. Meetings. I'll text somebody,
whether it's worth.
I'll text Linda.
Yeah.
Say, hey, I'm finishing up at Haverstraw. You know, and I'll pick up next the second half, that they're legal issues that come up, we can talk in executive session. So, yeah. So I will in all likelihood make the end of the meeting. Because your meetings definitely.
Well,
I was gonna say, so the goal
Really?
is to
Shocking.
finish the meeting before.
Yeah, the goal is to not
Dennis-
make Dennis come down. So that is our watchword of the 8th.
Goal.
Is to move with alacrity. All right, so it's gonna be the 8th, which means that our next order of business, which is setting a public hearing on chapter 120 about the affordable housing. Can I get a motion to set the public hearing for Tuesday, October 8th at, we'll call it 8:05, because I'm not sure if we said something else for 8 o'clock. We'll do it for 8:05 on Tuesday at the Village Board Hall on South Broadway.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, so we have a motion, public hearing set for that date to talk about the affordable housing, and by then we'll have some sort of legislation probably to talk about. All right, new business we talked about, 10, we talked about 10.1, we talked about 10.2. 10.3, we have a letter, it's in your packet from Judy Gorman telling us thank you on the stop sign. Thanks, we have a letter thanking us. We had a public comment that was positive, and we got a round of applause. This is like a landmark meeting. Do we have any other public comment? We only got one member of the public. Do you have a public comment?
Something I didn't think of.
Please come on up. Andy, state your name and then you what village you live in, you don't have to give a address. I don't like asking.
My name is Florence Swan, you know me. I live in Nyack, in Depew Manor. I moved here about 5 years ago from Brooklyn, and what's been bugging me since then is the walk and don't walk signs that are not consistent throughout the village. The way they are in the city, you know, walk is supposed to be white, don't walk is supposed to be red. But some of the signs work like that here in the village, and some don't work like that. Some are always red. And I think it's confusing, and I'm not sure, nobody else has ever talked about this, but coming from the city,
It's a good
Oh.
point.
well, I haven't heard it.
You make a great point, and I've raised this before. Can we, I mean, the point is they never say
Can I ask a
walk.
question?
No, they don't.
Do you
walk
push the
signs never
button?
say walk.
A few of the, do you push the button?
If you don't push the button, it's not gonna work the way you want it to work.
But why do we make them press the button? It should walk. when-
Because
once you get
otherwise
across,
you're
it should walk.
stopping traffic when nobody's waiting to cross.
You have to get
But you
the,
don't stop traffic. If you have a green light, and nobody's crossing, you.
right,
cross it.
you gotta get the light on the cycle to even give you the right of way if you don't press the button.
A lot of people
Look, I've learned this because there's been at least a couple accidents over in Westchester, and I've had a lot of meetings with DOT on it. You have to press the button or else it won't signal the light to give you the right of way to walk.
I don't think everybody knows that.
No, a lot of
people
A lot of people don't.
It just automatically does that and it's supposed to do that, so my mind is like.
Generally speaking, the button is always there, and usually the way people, well, it's always there in most stop signs have it around the world, around the country. But usually what they do is there still is a walk sign. But the point is you press the button to accelerate they'll bring the walk sign up quicker. If you're at like an intersection that doesn't always have as long lights.
So you're
They'll make the
saying
lights
the
turn
walk
quicker.
sign will turn white and say
Just
walk?
Try pushing the
You
button,
press the button.
experience the button.
And have the button experience and then come back if it doesn't
But
work.
but the color stays the same. It doesn't like go from
Red to white.
yeah. It doesn't. I don't think it does that.
Eddie, my problem with those signs is that I always press the button, okay? And then it says walk, right, or whatever, the white figure comes up.
Which is predictable.
And the lights, and then, you know, the light is green, right? And so that's internationally known. You can walk with the green. Then it'll start to count down
He does.
and it'll finish, but that light is still green. Can't the timing be done so that as it counts down, when the light starts to turn red? In other words, that's the normal course. So basically, what people do, I know, I speak on in my name, what I do is I look at it goes down to, it counts down to 1 or whatever. But the light's still green, so I'm gonna walk.
I will say
God
that
bless
it's the
you.
only
Go
village
for it.
I've ever been in where you have to press the button to get a walk sign. I've never been anywhere else in the world where you have to press the button. So that.
Seriously?
I've never seen anywhere where you press it.
Oh my God, in Tarrytown, you really.
They have to.
Yeah.
I guess I'm used to the city where it's just, you get a walk sign.
Well, in fairness, there was a common misconception for the longest time that those buttons never worked in New York City.
That's true. They were
Which
just,
is why no one pressed them.
it was like pressing the.
You don't have to.
They don't need. to.
All right. Let's all resolve to press the button when we want to cross and wait to see what happens. And if we are still dissatisfied with the button experience, we can come back and talk about it in the future meeting. Is that okay, Ruth?
Yes.
All right.
Just quickly, I
There's
have
a
people
sign
tell
on
me
the pole.
that pressing the button doesn't do anything.
Yes.
Okay, I know it does, but people are demanding that it's all a psychological ploy, you know, mind control.
To the people, it is really not. It will turn the light cycle and give you the right of way. Press the
Eventually.
button. Oh,
It
no,
doesn't
not
happen right away.
It's up to the people.
It's not like
Press the
flipping
button.
on a street light. And I'll tell you, flip it on, it turns on. You have to wait. It's gonna take time to cycle through.
Traffic lights timed already, still green and then. and-
Yes.
So they
So
are,
how would it make a difference?
It's more that I think it just creates a walk sign within the green.
right. What it does is it gives you the right of, so you don't have the right of way even when the light's cycling. It gives you the right of way to walk when you press the button. It's halting all of the traffic, well, not all of the traffic lights, but whatever the cycle is, it puts you in the cycle so that you have the right of way to walk and that no one hits you. Yeah. Very. I have spent my entire summer meeting with the Department of Transportation on this very issue, so that's what they're.
Beautiful. I love that we get the advantage all the time of Pascal's job in Albany. That is immensely helpful. Thank you Ruth, for bringing that. It has been bugging me for us, and thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Before we close, one.
No, we're not
thing-
closing it, that's an executive session.
Before we do that, I just want this so that we can add it in the minutes.
Yes.
Sorry.
So at 3 o'clock this Saturday, which is September 28th, people are gathering at the Butterfly Garden in Memorial Park to remember Betty Perry. Also, save the date for November 2nd, the afternoon of November 2nd for a possible indoor event. So more of that to follow, but I wanted to put that up there.
Indoor event.
Thank you very much.
The indoor event for Betty.
Yeah,
They'll do the memorial.
they'll do a memorial event.
That's the night of the Legacy Gala for the next.
Just Mayor.
Oh, well, I won't be.
Just to sort of, I mean, I'm all for the optimal pedestrian signal thing. This village has a very important intersection with no crosswalks or signals at all. And that's the one on High Avenue over 9W. Which if you live anywhere in the area, you know, because there's no way to get across the Walgreens, they're gonna run over. So I do have it on the DOT's list, and someday we hope they will spend the money to do a proper intersection with pedestrian crossings there. But if there's one thing we should be advocating for, it's for the escalation, maybe Pascal's like, the escalation of that improvement, because there's literally no crosswalk and no button for crossing 9W at all.
Yeah, that's.
No,
And it's a highly densely populated area with,
And people do cross there because they want to get to the.
Yeah.
Walgreens.
right,
And there's apartments there.
And there are apartments there.
Right,
so whenever this comes up, like, that's the priority.
All right, Ruth, we're gonna go into executive session. We will not do any formal business, and then we will.
Ciao.
So I gotta get a motion to go into executive session.
Second.
Wait, who's the first?
Hold on.
Well, after we get out of executive session.
Okay.
All in favor of the executive session?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, we're gonna go into executive session.
Hold on.
Dennis is closing the door.